What is going on, guys? Dayton here, aka Dr. Autoflower, back at you in the garden with some more question and answers. I just finished up filming an update on the garden, so that'll be coming out right away too. Hope you guys' gardens are doing awesome. Hope you guys are doing good yourself. Looks like we're smashing the algorithm again. Thank you to all the people who are putting the likes and the comments and the questions in. Really helps. Let's again try to get another 1,000 likes on this video. It really helps get these videos a lot of traction, so I really do appreciate it. Before we hop into the question and answer video, if you guys are interested in supporting my channel, and if you're interested in getting a new LED grow light for your garden, I can hook you up with optic LED discount codes, and I can help you choose the best light for your grow situation. You can hit me up and we can chat, and I can help you determine which light would be best for you. So you can contact me at drautoflower@gmail.com or at Dr. Autoflower on Instagram. So definitely hit me up and I can help you out, hook you up with some discount codes. And there's a big sale going on with optic LEDs right now too, so definitely the best time. Prices just dropped and some really good prices going on right now, so check it out. If you're interested in checking out my mushroom channel, check out my MushLoven channel. I'll be putting a link down below in the description. So with that out of the way, guys, let's get right into the question and answer videos and get right to it. Awesome Guy at 77 asks, quick question. I've been 19 on, 5 off this whole grow, but while feeding in late flower, I noticed high humidity with lights off. How detrimental is 24 hours for a few days while the pots dry out some? So it kind of sounds like this guy's not using an inline fan to move the air out. I highly recommend, if you're growing in a tent, that you should do that. If you don't know, when your lights are off and you don't have a fan sucking that air out, your humidity can build up to like very high amounts. I've seen it go up to like 90-95% when I have like a garden full of plants. So it is something you really need to be cautious of, especially during late flower, when you're very close to harvesting. That's when your plants, your buds, are most susceptible to bud rot or molds and stuff. So I would say I would not do that. If you don't have an inline fan, you should definitely invest in one, or maybe just leave your tent door open. I personally would not allow that to happen. Like for me, that's like a big mistake. Like maybe something happened where I accidentally turned the power off, or I'm doing something, maybe I'm doing like filming and I need it quiet or something and I turn the fan off. I've done that before, and I come check my humidity and it's way up there. I'm like, oh no, because that's something you don't want. That's something that is detrimental, and I would not recommend it. If you don't have an inline fan, open your doors. Light leaks aren't really going to harm your plants if they're autoflowers. So that's probably what I would do. Have a fan blowing on them always. But if they're enclosed and lights are off, there's no fan sucking that air out, it could be big issues and lead to some loss in your harvest. You can turn quite a bit into mold if you're not careful. So definitely something to watch out for. Vic7872, fantastic video. If you were stranded on a desert island and only could bring 3 autoflower strains with you, which ones would it be and why? Well, that's an interesting question. I'd probably go with just the dank stank. Like I've had some amazing Cosmic Queen, I believe it was, from Mephisto. There was also a old school autoflower strain called MI5, which was pretty popular back in like 2013-ish, 2012, 2014, around there. And there was a phenotype with that literally tasted like Flintstone vitamins. Absolutely just phenomenal smoke. I was really impressed with it, and I would probably pick some of that too. And for the third one, I'd probably go with Strawberry Nuggets from Mephisto. That was another just absolutely dank strain. Was blown away by the quality with it, so that's probably my picks. Dan Sikalis says, hey man, love the videos, just started on my second grow. Do you have any books you recommend? Not really for autoflowers, but for just growing all around, I'd say the Grow Bible, which is by Jorge Cervantes. That's one a lot of people start with. Usually a good place to start with. Some of it's a little dated and whatnot, but it's really good to learn about the plants, and it's pretty knowledgeable. Stephen W. says, I got a question about water. My tap is very hard, even after filtered. Is that going to be a problem? And any clue why I pH balance my water at 5.8 for hydro, but after a day it goes back off the scale of pH? Any advice? Kind of sounds like you have water like me, where my pH is just really high and there is kind of high ppms. I think I've measured it at like high 200s or something like that. So yeah, you may have water like me. Personally, what I would do is I would probably switch to advanced nutrients, pH perfect. It sounds like it could benefit you. It really helped me once I switched over. I think it's really beneficial for like growing situations like I have, like you have. It just really helps keep the pH balanced. Pretty much what I do is very simple. I put in a certain amount of pH down to kind of get it close to 7.0. I mix my nutrients and I don't really have pH problems at all. And I don't even check my pH. There's just no need because I don't even have pH issues. So for your situation, I would probably recommend switching to advanced nutrients, pH perfect. So for your situation, that's probably what I'd switch to for nutrients. It just seems to really help in situations where you're having really high pH and it fluctuates too much. That's what I had issues with too. And Ron Burgundy asks, I'm on day 57 with my autos and I planted 2 of the same seeds, D's runts and 1 different mimosa cake, but they're growing different and I think one of the runts is about finished and the mimosa cake just started flowering. What's next? What's the next few steps I should do from this point? And I've been running 24 hours light. Should I change that? It's my first time. So you're saying you planted them all at the same time, 55 days old. One's almost ready to harvest and another is just starting to flower. I would say if your autoflower is just starting to flower now, it's most likely some bad genetics because autoflowers should not be starting to flower at 57 days. That's a pretty big sign that there's something wrong going on. Even if you stress it out really bad, it still should start flowering at least by like day 30 or something if it's okay, good genetics. If it's day 57 and you're just starting to flower now, that's usually a good sign that it's not good genetics. So I would watch out for that. Could just be some bad breeding and you may need to flip that 12 and 12 if it doesn't fully start kicking into flower. Your other one that's just about done, that sounds like pretty much right on time. 24 hours light, I personally would not do 24 hours light unless you really needed to, like in a situation where you need the heat to be always going. That's the only situation I could see where it's worthwhile. That being if you're like growing in the garage and like wintertime you needed like constant heat and you don't want it fluctuating too much, that would be a reason why I would go with 24 hours. But if you're not doing that, then I probably would not do that and I would probably stick with either 18 hours on, 6 off, or 20 hours on, 4 off. Metal Only 100 says, I was on the Canadian Mephisto genetics website and I was wondering, do you know what an F1, F4, F7 seed types mean for autoflowers? Thanks for your help. So the F stands for like crosses. So like if you cross 2 autoflowers together, their offspring would be an F1. So if you cross those offspring back again with each other, then that would be an F2. And the reason why they keep doing it is because it makes it more stable and you get a more stable genetic, less variations in the phenotypes and stuff. That's normally why they do that. Jonah Jackson says, wondering if you or anyone out there knows if you take a cutting from a photoperiod plant, put it into water, 2 of the 3 have shown roots and her Clonex now arrived. Can I dip my roots into Clonex? If your plant already have roots, then you're done. You just plant that thing in the dirt. Personally, I'm kind of thinking I might just stop dipping into the clone stuff. It seemed like the one that I broke off a branch accidentally when I was doing cloning. I just shoved it in the dirt and didn't even dip it in the cloning stuff. It seemed to take better root than all the other ones. It looked healthier during cloning. So I think I might just put it straight in the dirt, keep it watered, and should be rooted in like 10 days. So that's kind of what I'm leaning towards next time when I clone some photoperiods. Yeah, I was kind of surprised by that. Normally you'd think the branches dipped in the cloning solution would clone faster, but they actually didn't. So it seems like it's a simpler way and works just as good. So I may just go with that next time. But back to the question, you would never dip your clone into rooting solution again once it already has roots. Once it has roots, plant into your medium and away you go. Northern Lights 18, what are the best temps for autoflowers? If you're using LEDs, I'd probably say 82 Fahrenheit is probably the best. And that's because the plants grow at a better temperature, at a little bit higher than what you would normally give for HPS. HPS back in the day, you would give 78 79 Fahrenheit. But for plants under LEDs, they actually prefer a little bit higher temperatures to take in that light to use it to create food for the plant. So that's normally what I try to strive for, 82 Fahrenheit. It can get up to 85 and you're still doing pretty good. So probably if you stay in between like 81, 85, you should be golden. 2 Clip Trip says, would a 100 watt LED be sufficient for one plant in a 2x2 foot tent? So yes, but it actually depends on the LED light. There's some low quality LED lights that, you know, maybe it's just barely giving you enough power. But like the optic LEDs I use, which are higher end, I have used my Fat Slim 1XLs, which are pretty much made for a 2x2 foot grow area. I had phenomenal results growing autoflowers under there. Some of the most densest and dankest autoflowers I've ever grown. So I was really impressed using them. They're like a round puck kind of style light with kind of like quantum style LEDs with the Samsung LEDs and bloom enhancers. Had awesome results with it. Highly recommend. I think I did that like a year and a half ago. Now there's even a better light out, the G-Max 150. Absolutely amazing light for a 2x2 foot area. Covers the area a bit better than a Fat Slim 1XL would. So I would probably go with the G-Max 150. I've seen people use those with awesome results. You could have 2 of those in a 2x4, and I've seen people pull 1 pound out of a 2x4 foot area, so they definitely produce. So a G-Max 150 in a 2x2 area, you could definitely pull half a pound if you know what you're doing. Raul Garcia says, hey, I bought Mephisto seeds and I switched to 12 and 12 because my photoperiods are in the same tent. And the thing is 5 feet tall and 3 feet wide. Do you think these seeds are fake? Do autos double and stretch or even triple? So to me that kind of sounds a little strange. Getting to 5 feet tall with an autoflower, that's usually very, very impressive. I'm not sure what you're growing it. Maybe if you're growing really sativa, but the sure sign is, did your plants start flowering at like week 3, week 4 or so? If not, if it's not flowering and it only started to flower after you switched it to 12 and 12, then that's a pretty big sign that could be a photoperiod. And you put the Mephisto in quotations, so, and it kind of sounds like you're not sure if it actually was Mephisto. Did you actually buy it from the Mephisto breeders when they do the seed drops, or did you get it from some random seed bank? If you got it from some random seed bank, it is possible they just gave you different kind of seeds and they just said it was that and ripped you off. I've had that happen to me before. I've gotten seeds and it's supposed to be a certain kind of seed. Definitely wasn't that when I grew it out, so it can happen. But like I said, if it starts flowering after you switch it to 12 and 12 and it's like past the point when autoflowers should be flowering, then I would say something's up and you got a photoperiod on your hand. And you'll have to have it on 12 and 12 to flower it. So yeah, sounds like you got a big plant on your hands. RIK333 says, I have 4 3-gallon pots in my 27-inch by 27-inch tent. Is this good, bad, or plain crazy? So if you're growing autoflowers, you probably could get away with that. I've personally done 4 plants in a 24 by 24 2x4 tent. It was really tight, but as long as you don't let them like branch out really crazy, you should be fine. You try to keep them in their 1 foot by 1 foot area, and as long as they're not like getting too massive and too branching stuff, I think you're totally fine. It is a little crunched in there, but it's definitely doable. You may need to do a little bit of training, clean up some leaves and stuff, a little bit of leaf stripping and stuff, so you're not like completely having just like a jungle in there, so the light can penetrate down. But it is doable. Luda Corleone. Do running autoflowers on 12 and 12 schedule make them flower quicker? A big no. That is a terrible idea. The only reason why you'd ever do a 12 and 12 hour schedule for autoflowers would be if you had a couple in with like your photoperiods and you really needed to flip your photoperiods to flower and you didn't really care that much about your autoflowers, then I would say yeah, go for it. If not, totally not worth it at all. Keep it on at least 18 hours on, 6 hours off, or 20 hours on, 4 hours off. That is going to give you the best results with autoflowers. If you go below those hours, you're going to get a diminished return on your harvest, so it's just not worth it. W asks, what is the best LED for a 2x2 foot space? Like I said with one of the last questions, what I recommend for a 2x2 foot area is hands down, definitely the G-Max 150, absolute killer light. Uses all the same tech as my Slim 650S here. Very good quality LED. Using the industry standard Samsung diodes, the LM301Hs, super efficient. Got the bloom enhancers, Samsung bloom enhancers that are super efficient as well. And I've seen people pull really good results with them. Like I said before, 2 of those could get you like £1. 1 of those could easily get you half a pound if you know what you're doing. And if you're interested in getting one of those lights, I can hook you up with a discount code. And if you're interested in getting one of those lights, you can hit me up on my Instagram or the email I provided, and I can hook you up with a discount code, save you some money, and help get you growing with an awesome light. Jamie Hubbard says, hey man, got some Fastbuds 00 cheese auto. Any tips around 4 or 5 weeks, no sign of pistils? So like we've said in many videos before, that is one of the issues with Fastbuds. Some of them come out really good, some of them have issues like that. I've had issues with that myself, where they just didn't fully properly flower. If you're at week 4, week 5 on an autoflower and it's not showing signs of pistils yet, it could be not so good genetics. You may have to flip it to 12 and 12 to make it flower properly. I would wait 1 more week just to see if it starts flowering. Maybe it's more sativa, but usually that's a sign that genetics aren't that good. So I would say after a week, if it doesn't start flowering, if you don't see signs of pistils, time to flip it to 12 and 12 and maybe stop using Fastbuds older genetics. Their newer genetics seems to be a bit better. I haven't heard too many people complaining about that. I haven't heard too many people complaining about the newer genetics, but the older ones usually seem to be the ones that have the issues. Bill asks, low temp grows. Low 60 Fahrenheit, will it work? Northern Lights. I don't think that's a good idea. Like I said, if you're using LED lights, 81 Fahrenheit to 85. Like I said before, if you're using LED lights, you probably want to be at like 82 Fahrenheit or so. That's probably the best temperature to be at. If you're using HPS lights, like old school lights, you would want to be at like 78 Fahrenheit, 79 Fahrenheit, something like that. That would give you those temps will give you your best results. And that wraps up the questions, guys. So thank you all for watching. Again, if you are new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button down there. Subscribe so you can follow along with all my new videos. Make sure you hit that bell so you get notifications when my new videos go up. And smash that like button, it really helps the channel. The next video I got going up will be a garden update, and I'll show you guys what I got growing on here. My photoperiods are ready to flower, and my autoflowers have been started. So the garden is a go, and I am super pumped. So yeah. So until next time, guys, thank you all for watching. Peace out, and we'll catch you guys later.